Okay, we in with it. Drop your panel on there. Y'all already know what time it is. Let me see something, man. Call. What's happening? Okay. What's going on? Let's see how many people. What's good? You know what I'm saying? Checking in, everybody checking in. What's up, man? Just what's up? Salute to you too, bro. Y'all know how we do, man. Once we get 100 people off in here, definitely got somebody special for y'all today. You know what I'm saying? You know, and like I say, man, y'all know what time it is, man. If I'm coming across the screen, man, it's something you can learn from, and something you can help better your situation. And that's just that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already know what we doing and how we doing it. You know what I mean? Dave, what's up, man? Kiki, what's up, bro? What's happening, man? Hold on, we getting there. Hopefully y'all having a good day, man. You know, get into it, man. You know how we do. Checking in, man. Hey, Bree, I just sent you a text, bro. Yeah, you gotta go check out that text I just sent you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do that. Well, yeah, man, we checking in, man. You know what I mean? We're almost done, man. Like I said, you know, once we hit 100 people, man, we go to. I got a special guest for y'all today, man. It says a Q&A. You know what I'm saying? Ask whatever question y'all gotta ask. This is one of the credit gurus. You know what I mean? And like I said, man, this just can help y'all with y'all situation, man. Say need some apparel for the big and we got that coming. He said we need some apparel for the big and tall. We definitely got that coming. A lot of people think I'm a short dude, but I'm down to 6'4", you know what I'm saying? So trust me, I understand. Augusta, Georgia checking in, man. Listen, man, I'm gonna go and bring my partner on. Like I say, man, he one of the gurus when it comes to credit. Definitely this is a learning live right here. You know what I'm saying? Free learning live. Ask whatever question you gotta ask. And like I say, man, learn how to utilize the bank's money, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, man, either somebody gonna die, leave some money, you're gonna hit the lottery, or working for it, ain't gonna never happen. Anytime you exchange your time for money, you'll never get rich. You'll never get in a position. It's gonna always be the rat race. So pay attention, man. Ask whatever question y'all gotta ask. Make sure y'all share this live. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna get to it, man. Definitely finna get to it. So what's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on, Papa?
What's going on, man? Listen, y'all
Everything.
understand, man. It's one of the credit gurus right here, man. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, man, he definitely finna give y'all some free information. Ask whatever questions y'all gotta ask at the end. We're gonna have a Q&A, a little Q&A, like I say. And this is for you to learn from, man. So if you attentive for you or your significant other as a unit, whatever the case may be, man, write this stuff down. You know what I'm saying? Right. One of the things I'm gonna share with y'all, all millionaires, one of the things they have in common, they write everything down. And I've been around quite a few of them and I've seen them do it. Listen, write it down, man. Whatever question y'all have, we're gonna get to it. But yo, man, what's going on with you, bro?
Uh, everything. I just want to first give it back to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and also thank you for taking the time out to continue to educate the communities nationwide. So appreciate you having me.
Definitely, man. Definitely, man. We're gonna get into it. I know one of the things you definitely want people to know is how your credit history and things should look, like your whole profile,
Yeah.
how it should look,
Yeah.
going in and being able to get what it is you need to get done and ways to achieve that.
Correct. So, just a big bit about myself, so we're not complete strangers. My name is Odin Lawrence. I go by Dean for short. Friends call me Dean. Essentially, I've been in this industry now, I would say financial literacy as a whole, for over 10 years. I actually got started in this industry when it comes to financial literacy when I was about, was it 21, 22? It always sparked my interest because I thought to myself that growing up that it didn't make sense why I have to go work a particular job. When I was in high school and, they were dishing out what you want to be and, all that stuff. I didn't want to do any of the things that was listed on this paper, right? I
Mm,
didn't want to go into a trade school. I wanted to be able to have financial freedom or success, but I never knew anyone that had it to even lead me or guide me towards that path. So I
mm,
struggled several years before coming across, a mentor who, at the time, he was doing well off. I would go to his office, at least for taking the bus maybe 3 4 hours, getting to his location. He was like in life insurance at the time, and he educated me on financial literacy. He started to put books in front of me to read, and that started to open up my knowledge on certain things that I thought to myself that didn't make sense,
mm,
like working for the rest of your life, getting to understand the 40 40 40 plan that the government has set up for you. Work 40 and pretty much you're claimed to retire at a particular age, but then they only give you 40% of what you worked for over those years. So, I
right.
needed something that would make sense. I started life insurance as a financial advisor, did that for several years, and migrated myself into, I would say, the credit space. It didn't happen, I would say, purposely. I didn't say, "Hey, I'm gonna start doing credit," but it came a point, Papa, where I was in a desperate position in my life. I like to think that men normally move off of inspiration or desperation, right? And I was in a desperate situation where my car broke down. At the time, I had was it a Nissan Altima, 2004, and it was in a point where the head gasket blew.
Right.
Here's the irony. That year in 2016, I actually was praying that God help me to find a way to fix my credit, because when I went to the car dealership, they denied me immediately. I remember the car dealer told me, if you don't have $5,000 to $10,000 with your credit score, you can't get the $14,000 plus vehicle that I wanted. Right. I tried to move from the apartment that I was living at the time, and I couldn't even get a decent apartment without without having a good credit score. So I started
Mm,
to really scout this thing out, and credit was brought in front of me by an associate during that time. I started to research credit, started to educate myself on credit, because it's a horrible feeling to want something or to need something, whether it's for yourself or your family, and you can't get it because of something that you were never thought of,
mm,
right? So I started to educate myself on credit. Over the years, prior to then, I went through the mistakes of life, right? End up
mm,
racking up about $35,000 worth of debt. I'm gonna be transparent, so I hope you don't mind.
right.
I racked up about $35,000 worth of debt from hospital bills and repossessions that happened in the past, and broken leases, and just so many different things that I wasn't aware of or educated about. But when I started to study the laws, I started to educate myself on what can and cannot be done. I started to realize that we as consumers actually have more power than we believe.
Mhm,
So within that sense of educating myself, I was able to start combating with the credit bureaus. Going back and forth, creating the legal documents. During that time, I was actually handwriting the letters.
mm,
There was no team behind me except God, and I was just getting the information, researching, getting downloads, spiritual downloads, and I'm putting notes to paper, and I'm sending these documents out. And over a period of time, a few months in, the account started falling off of my credit. Now, for the accounts that wasn't falling off, I was getting letters from the actual collection companies, right? Not the original creditor who charged the debt off or wrote it off as a loss, but I'm getting letters from the collection companies that is the owner of those debts, trying to play me to believe that I'm the owner when all they want to do is transfer that information back to my name. So, they were hitting me with 90% off. I'm talking debts that were $8,000, $2,000, and they want peanuts for it, right? Because essentially they bought it for pennies. So as long as they were able to get something from it, they were okay with it because they know that, okay, this person understands something within the law that's allowing him to continue to combat us the way that he that I was, right? About 7 to 8 months into that program, me actually challenging the accounts on my credit, over $35,000 of debt got deleted.
Right.
My credit score went from low to mid 400s to a high 700s within a 7 to 8 month time frame.
Right.
All right. So it was a period of time, but I never, fell into those pesky traps that they had, those stall letters that they sent, and sending me letters stating that these accounts are verified and making me believe that, these accounts that was charged off or in collection is actually mine, when all of those accounts were in violation of certain laws on the Fair Credit Reporting Act, as well as the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act.
Gotcha. That's dope.
Right.
That's dope. That's important too, man. Like I say, once you start trying to really especially as a young family, when you start moving around, you start to want to get out, get your own spot. These are the things that you're gonna run into, that you need to take care of. And trust me, man, I've been there too. Same thing, bro. Just being denied all because of credit. It ain't had nothing to do with the money. That's when I really realized that when you transformation from the streets to wanting to be you want to do things a certain way, or just in general, you know what I mean? You'll start to realize that credit will stop you.
Correct.
Regardless.
Correct.
Stop you. So
yeah.
So
then I went on to working on building Real Credit Deal, and in a I would say in a time where things could be chaotic, where this whole pandemic and everything else was going on, it seemed like the world in itself was closing down, but in reality that was the time for everyone to get on board to start working on their future, right? You say it a lot, but every successful individual's leverage credit. Right? They leverage OPM, other people's money. And where are you getting this other person's money from? It's the banks, right? So the banks leverage your money every time that you loan that money to them. They take this money and they flip it, so many different times, whether it's in the stock market, the Forex market, or wherever they flip it, in the housing market, they're flipping your money that you're depositing into the account and then using it, when you're ready for it, they'll give you back whatever you put in, but they've already flipped that money several times over, right? So I started to understand or learn, well, what is it that your credit report needs to look like? Because this is what caught me in the beginning. My score jumped up, into the 700s, over 256 points, but my credit file was still thin. I had nothing on there. So I remember applying for certain credit cards, and with a 750 plus credit score across the board, I'm getting denied. So I was thinking to myself, there has to be more to this. Why am I getting denied? And continuous research led me to comprehend that your credit report is just, if not more, equally important than the score. I want y'all to remember that. The report is so important that you can have the score and not have the report, and you will get denied most of the times. And if a bank gives you any form of qualification or funding, essentially you're going to get a high interest rate with that, or you're not going to get the maximum amount that you could possibly get. So why is it that the credit report is important? It's important because it speaks a language. You got to keep in mind that, when you're going to a bank and inquiring for something, whether you're going to a car dealership, which have a financial department, you're looking to buy a house, which has a financial department, you're looking to go straight to the bank and get funding, business or personal, it's a financial question that you're asking them. And essentially you're asking them for money.
Right.
Most of the times, especially if you're looking for house, cars, etc., these are huge amount of debts that you're asking for. So if they don't know you from a can of paint and you want to, inquire about them giving you some money, well, they got to check you out.
Right.
In all fairness, if you and I just met and I'm asking you for $300, you don't know me. It's a high possibility that you might say, if you don't feel in a given mood, you're not going to loan me any money, because there's no report that I'm going to pay you back.
Right.
You see where I'm coming from? So I'm going to list right now what you need to have in order to have a perfect credit report, and what scores you need to have in order to know that this works perfectly with your report. And I promise you, if you get it to exactly what I'm going to describe, or as close as possible, then you will never worry about getting denied when you try to get funding under your personal or business credit. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more. So first things first, your payment history. Your payment history should be 100%. Right. So if you have you have credit score that's ranged between 300 to 850, right? Now, when you subtract that 300 from the 850, what you truly have as far as amount of points is 550 points to play with. Right. So now when we're going through these calculations, I want you to keep that in mind, 550 points. So when you have a late payment, your late payment governs 35% of your credit report. Okay. So that means so that means that of 35, that means of out of 550 points, 35% dictates that. That's 100. That's over 190 points that you can lose just off of having late payments. So be mindful. I normally joke with clients and say, if you have a car payment to pay, and you have a light bill, for example, pay the car payment first. Right. If it falls around the same due date, get an extension for the light bill, but pay that car payment because it's directly attached to your credit. And just a late payment one can charge your credit score 150 to 100 points. Right. So payment history should be 100%, no late payments. So if you have late payments on your credit, it doesn't mean that you will always get denied. It just means you're not putting yourself in the best possible situation to maximize your credit. So it should be 100%. If it is not 100%, it's important that you either challenge it yourself to get it removed via a goodwill letter, or you even leverage our service and allow us to do the work for you. Right. The next thing that you want to keep very close to you is utilization. Now, I came across a lot of people in the past, Papa, and even still today, that says, I don't need a credit card. They want to build a credit, but they don't want to have credit cards. It's impossible for you to build a perfect credit report.
Right.
Because one of the requirements, mind you, we're talking about requirements that your credit needs to have in order to get access to funding from any bank. So one of the requirements that banks will look for is your credit utilization, also known as your credit usage.
Right.
See, this is worth 30% of your credit report. This is a huge factor. So of that 550 points that we discussed, 30% of that 550 is over 160 points. So you mean to tell me that you can lose 160 points just by mismanaging your credit cards? Absolutely.
Right.
See, again, if I'm loaning you some money, pop it up, right? And I have a stamp on it that says you can only use, you can use the full amount, but every dollar that you use, I'm keeping it accountable for.
Right.
So the threshold that I'm giving you is 30%. So you use, let's say on a $500 credit card, you use 10%. Okay, next month you pay the 10% back, you're good. The next month, hard times hit, or just something happened. Now you use 30%.
Right.
But then you still have to manage, lifestyle situations, groceries, all that thing. So you end up going up to 100% and maxing the credit card out.
Right.
Did you just know that you shot yourself in the foot? Because they're easily, in 30 days, they'll easily take away another 50 to 100 points just off of that utilization.
Damn.
And as a matter of fact, every percentage, every amount that you go up to, that's the percentage that they'll take. So you hit 30%, just believe that 30% of your credit score is going to be affected.
Right.
100% of your credit will be affected. So you can look at that 100 points being hit on your credit in just 30 days. I also want to put a pin right there on the utilization. You have to be very, very mindful when you use a credit card. These are trial and errors. I don't really see these things that I'm going to discuss in the internet. But when you have a credit card, you want to be very mindful of how you use it. So if this month you use 10%, next month when you use it again, it has to either be 10% or lower.
Mm-hmm.
If you use 10.5%, 11%, your score will drop.
See,
Now,
this they'll teach you.
they're going to show you.
Right.
It may not drop a whole lot because it's a small percentage, but the fact of the matter is you can lose 3, 4, 5, 6 points. And to be honest, in the world of credit, you're just a point away from being in a good, fair, perfect. You're literally just a point away. So every point counts. So just be mindful of that. If you see your credit score decreasing, your payment was on time, your utilization is below 30%, it's because it's fluctuating. You're using a little bit more or paying the balance down where it's not below the last month's prior balance. Does that make sense?
Right.
All right. So utilization is very important, but just those two alone that I just discussed is worth 65% of your credit.
Damn.
That's a chunk of your credit. So if you don't have these two in order, it becomes very impossible for you to have a strong and credible credit report. And
Right.
no banks will want to see you if you have inconsistent late payments, and they're going to hit you with interest, right? So the next thing that you want to have on your credit report is no collection, none. If you have a collection from 10, 12 years ago, if it hasn't removed itself throughout that time frame, it's not going to remove itself now. It's important that you either work on it yourself, doing it yourself, or you leverage a credit repair program like ours to help you get the job done. Okay. So collection accounts, charge-off accounts, any public records, all of those have to get removed off of your credit report if you're really thinking about funding, especially if you have business ideas, or you currently have a business but you've never gotten funded for your business, or maybe you've gotten funded for your business but it's not a whole lot.
Right.
These are some of the reasons, because every bank is going to check your personal credit as a guarantor, whether they do a soft pull, they do a hard pull, they're going to check your personal credit to see how you been able to manage money. Now, if you've been in business 2, 3, 4, 5+ years, you have a strong source of income coming in. Some banks won't even look at your credit. They'll just go based off of your financials, right?
Right.
So no derogatory accounts. The next thing that you want to have on your credit report is history. So history actually is worth 15% of your credit report. Again, all that means is relationship. Think about it. Your credit history just shows a report that for the last 5 years, 2 years, or so on, you have been able to pay your bills on time, the credit utilization, the payment history. You have been able to keep your debts below 10%. The industry says 30%. Don't hit that threshold. Keep it below 10%. I promise you. So 10%, or less, for the next 10, 2, 3, 4, 5+ years. When you have a seasoned credit, that just shows banks, lenders, that for the last 2 years, this person has been paying good on their debts. This individual knows how to manage their money. If you know how to manage your own report, your own profile, your own money, banks are more inclined to loaning you their own money. would you ever lend someone you know that is horrible with money any money?
Yeah,
Think
that's
about
true.
it.
That's
If
true.
I know that I have a friend or associate or whomsoever that is horrible with money, and they're asking to borrow money from me, it's a slim chance they're not getting it.
Right.
Unless I'm donating, giving it as a charity, I'm not expecting it back. But the banks are looking at it the same way. If you're asking for their money, be prepared to build out a strong rapport with them, right? Total number of accounts. You have to have, it's recommended to have 10 or more positive accounts. Again, you want to diversify your portfolio. When you can show that you have, X amount of accounts that you've been paying on time, usage is below 10%, the history is over 2 years, and you can show lenders that you have these accounts from credit cards to loans, car loans, etc. You become favorable to them. They're going
Right.
to be more inclined to lend you money because you don't have just one credit card. Anybody can manage one credit card. All
But,
right.
it, but
And some people still mess that up.
let me say this too. Like I be telling people, a lot of ways you can manage those 10 accounts is like what I do. A lot of my subscriptions, because everything's subscription based. So whatever you
Mhm.
got, I'm online a lot with a lot of stuff. So a lot of my subscription based stuff, I have it on one card. Then whatever you pay for as far as groceries, gas, that's another card, and just things like that that you got to pay anyway. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
you can leverage that as you go. That's one of the ways, because it's benefits to it. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Like I say, we're gonna get into that in a second. It's benefits to doing it the right way to where you can go in there and come out with that kind of capital and go do
Correct.
whatever it is you're trying to do and continue to do it. So okay, I just wanted to throw that out there so people can understand
Absolutely.
ways that they can, leverage those 10 accounts. Got to spend it
Absolutely.
anyway.
Absolutely. Have accounts for its significant purposes. Like, you have one credit card may be for gas, another may be for grocery, just budget and organize it. Another thing with having those positive accounts, I mentioned earlier, it's requirements that lenders are looking for. So with having those amount of accounts on your credit report, again, it shows that you are able to manage money. And if you're able to manage yours, that you'll be more likely to manage theirs. Right. And then there with the accounts, it can be a mixture. It can be credit cards, secure credit cards. Um, I don't recommend, if your score is below a 620, to go to a bank and ask for a secure credit card. One, they're going to pull your credit. You're going to get an inquiry on your credit report. Two, when they do pull your credit, if your score is below their requirements, which you're not going to tell you, most bankers like, I don't know, right? But if your score is below the required amount, then you're going to essentially get an inquiry, and then you're going to get denied
Mhm.
on the application, right? They'll send you something in the mail that's a clear indication that you didn't get approved, right? But you'll need to have a mixture of credit. You'll need to have two types: credit cards, or also known as revolving lines of
Right.
credit, or and loans. It can be any type of loans. If the student loans is in good status, you paid it, or is paying it, that's a good loan, especially if it's been some years that you've had it. The car loans, right? Your car payments, that's a loan. Your mortgage, that's a loan. Any form of loans is acceptable once it's on your credit report. Just make sure that it's in good standings. But that's one, and then you also have the credit cards, right? So that's 10% of your credit. Again, 10% off the 550 roughly runs about 55 points. So essentially, you can just lose points just by not having those accounts on your report. And then last, we have hard inquiries.
Mhm.
This is, Papa, I call this a silent killer.
Right.
With hard inquiries, it one or two by itself doesn't do that much damage. Maybe 1, 2 points, 3, 4, 5 points. It doesn't really do much to you. Here's how they catch you with inquiries. Remember, I started by saying either inspiration or desperation is what moves people.
Right.
Anyone that is in a desperation phase with their credit, attempting to get their credit fixed, uh, sorry, not their credit fix, attempting to get a vehicle, okay, they will try and go to 10 dealerships that in one day or 1 month.
Right.
And not realizing that every time that they go to this dealer and they run their credit, that dealer may have 5, 6, 10, 20 lenders on the back end. Now, they may run it one time, run it through one system that now reflects to 20 different lenders. So now each lender is trying to approve you. And if you've gone through 19 lenders before number 20 hits and approves you, you just picked up 20 inquiries. And if you say, well, I don't like the deal that that lender gave me, I'm gonna go to another car dealership, and you do it again, that's another 20 you just picked up. And by the month is done, you have 60 to 90 inquiries reporting on your credit. Now that just destroyed your credit. You can have the payment history, you can have the utilization, you can have the history and the derogatory marks. But if you have too much inquiry, remember, inquiry is when you're asking for something. And the only thing you can ask a bank is for money. Right. So if they see 90, 60, 18 or too much inquiries, in their eyes, black and white, you're desperate for money. That doesn't even have to be the case. You just don't have the knowledge of building the credit. You may have the income, but the credit is not there. And you have too much inquiries that would deny you applications. I've seen it too much times over. And if they don't deny you, they'll hit you with high interest. Go ahead.
And one of the ways to avoid that, if you got a relationship with your bank, and this is another way you can build a relationship with your bank, and you're looking for a car, go to your bank and ask them what's the amount you'll be approved for to get a car. And in a lot of cases, they'll cut you a check for that amount to where you don't have to go to these car loans, like you say, these car dealerships, they're gonna run they just want to get you, a car sold. They're not looking at, all these times they're running this on your credit. So if you got a relationship with your bank, and this is a good way to build one, go to your bank, ask them, how much you'll be approved for as a car loan. Take that check. It's just as good as money. You know what I'm saying? Take that check and find your car within that budget. And that way you can, you ain't got to go through that, getting all those inquiries on your credit.
Correct. Absolutely correct. I always recommend doing so as well. And that's just a smart move. But again, if you're in that desperation mode, think about it. Look at your credit report. Analyze, do you have the requirements to receive such things, or is it best to just start working on fixing the issue and then going back later, right? So that's what your credit report should look like. Now, one of the things I also want to mention is God didn't leave us on or put us on this earth to be broke in any financial status. One thing I do comprehend is that the enemy, uses certain devices to keep us in bondage. Okay. He will use, if it's not your health, to distract you from the premises, the promise of God. He will use your finances. And if he can have you scattered out, like insects, your focus is not primarily on God. And you can be the best believer, but if your actions is not leading up to his word, then it puts you in the back burner to backslide, right? I'm no perfect saint. However, I do understand that there are devices that's being used against the people. Right. Once you are able to structure your finances in order, it will then put you in a peace to know that I don't have to worry about those bills being paid. They're already taken care of. Now your focus becomes more clear to go forward on the things that you actually want to do. So I'm going to discuss based on the report that you guys just saw. I'm going to discuss, well, how can you monetize this? Right. Not just to use the credit and say, I got a perfect credit, I don't want to touch it. And I remember seeing this, having this one conversation with a gentleman, and this guy had 700-800 credit scores. He don't want to touch it. I said, well, what do you have it for?
Yeah.
I'd like to see it. He's very scared because one, he doesn't really know how he built it. He just knows he's paying his bills on time. Remember, 35% is your payment history is what helps to build a score. So he knows that he's doing that. But if it something happens and it drops or destroyed, I mean, he'll be catastrophic. So I'm going to show you exactly. I just talked to you about what lenders or what the requirements for lenders are when it comes to your personal credit, right? Now, your scores all need to be above 720. 700s is great, as long as you're in the 700 club, so to speak. But once you're above 720, 750, it puts you in a really strong, favorable position where you're now different. You're separated when it comes to receiving lower interest rates than even someone with a 710 credit score, 708 credit score. So let's go into how you can monetize your credit. So, and this is, don't have your credit again just for buying a house or a car.
Let me say one thing right before you start. This is why I be telling people, as you building your credit, you want to do your due diligence on the business that you want to go into. So once you build it and you got it there, you're ready to pull the trigger. And I always say this is for those who want to change their situation. You can't be scared, man. You got to take a chance. If you won't take a chance with somebody else's money, you definitely ain't gonna take a chance with your own money. So, and I just want to say that right before you say what you about to say. So go ahead.
I want to add to what you just said. Biblically, Hosea 4 verse 6 speaks on the lack of knowledge. The people perish because of that. Now, lack of knowledge is not just it's not just finances. Lack of knowledge with God, lack of knowledge with being righteous and holy, lack of knowledge with anything that is lacking the knowledge of a thing, right? So when we're talking about financial lack, if you are lacking something in your life and you're lacking something in your life, then it's time to learn, right? For the word speaks about the fear of, in order to seek knowledge is to seek God. And if you're rebuking or running from knowledge, you're essentially running from what the Creator intended for you in the beginning, right? And then you also mentioned something just now, Papa, to add a biblical quote to it. Matthew 11, verse 15, it speaks on, for those who are willing to hear, let them hear. So this message is for you today. If you're watching and this message is transcribing to you, then, if it makes sense, and if you know that it's time for you to take the next step to moving into your career path or moving into put your family and yourself in a better position, then you will hear. This message will make sense to you, right? So now we're going to discuss, well, how do you monetize your credit? How do you operate using other people's money with your credit? I'm gonna break it all down for you. All right. So when you have the report looking like that and your credit score is in the 700s, mid, low, high 700s, as long as you're in the 700s, you're good. But primary, try to get it up into the 750s or better. Once your credit report and scores are now aligned, it's time to get access to funding. Okay. So we're going to discuss personal funding and we're going to discuss business funding. Okay. So with personal funding, your credit report looks like this. Now you can actually apply to certain banks that will essentially loan or give you credit cards, lines of credit, or banks such as Navy Federal. There's a bank called Alliant Bank. You can Google it, type in Alliant, you'll see the bank come up. It's not a federal credit union, but it is a credit union. Any local credit union in your area, credit unions are notorious for giving reasonable loans as well as credit cards, right? But when you go to a credit union, you go to a Navy Federal credit union, these are lenders that typically, with the score and the report that we just discussed, they will give you anything over 10 grand. Most cases with a solid report like we just discussed and a 750 credit score, you're looking at $20,000, $15,000, $18,000. So Navy Federal is one. Alliant is another. Capital One, believe it or not, gives really good credit cards, personal credit cards, right? You can either do the Savior card, which usually gives a significant amount compared to a few other cards that they have. So Navy Fed, Capital One. I would also recommend PNC as a really great bank to give funding. Citibank is also another great bank that gives you more than 10 grand. So these are banks that I'm listing. If you apply for at least, these different banks, they all will provide you with the report that I mentioned over $10,000. So if you hit 5 banks and each bank is giving you $15,000-$20,000, well, you won't have any financial issues at that moment. Right. Now, how do you go about doing it? Right? Do you have to build a report or relationship with them? You don't have to. Right now, each bank. Before I continue, I just realized I didn't finish the inquiry situation. With inquiries, have about 2 or less inquiries per bureaus. So if the inquiries is attached to any form of loans or accounts that you try to apply for and never received it, get those deleted. You can here's a hack. Call the bureaus, contact the credit bureaus. This only works with inquiries, by the way. Contact the credit bureaus. When you speak to a live operator, let them know that there are inquiries that's reported on your credit report that should not be there. They may tell you, well, it's showing up on your report, it's attached to an account. That's hogwash. You are the owner of your credit report. It's your consumer report. So if you don't want that on there, and per law, it shouldn't be on there if it's violating any of the laws. But essentially, those inquiries, once you list them out, so be prepared to have that list in front of you of your credit report. But once you list out all the inquiries that's on your credit report, this is a 50-50 split. So if it happens one or doesn't happen one time, just call them again. Or if you get an agent that is being a pain, hang up, call them again, and speak to someone that will help. But essentially, once you do this, within 72 hours is what the time frame is. I've noticed these accounts start to be getting dropped off of your credit report. We're talking about the inquiries now, right? So just wanted to tackle back to that before continuing. So when it comes to the lenders, right? If you, let's say, apply to these particular banks that I just mentioned, they're all pulling from separate bureaus. Each bank pull from a particular bureau. So Navy Federal will pull from one, Citi will pull from another, and so forth. So now if you're applying for Navy, Citi, let's say Alliant, and a credit union up the street, and let's say you're all pulling from one bureau, you're going to pick up, let's say 5-6 credit cards, but you're picking up 1 to 3 inquiries. Am I making sense? So now you pick up a small amount of inquiries on your report, but now that, let's say if it's whatever the number is, over 10,000 equates to, you're getting that number by the 5 credit cards that you have. That alone, when I did that strategy several years back, that alone yielded me over $90,000 in credit cards.
But you ain't gonna get working. Like I tell people, you
not gonna happen.
Working, it's gonna be hard, damn near impossible to save up 90,000. And like I say, these put you in a situation where you can escape. Go get your food truck, man. Go do something. You working 2-3 days out the week, making way more than you working 5 days out the week. And doing something you love.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of benefits from this. But like I say, when you at least got an option to make something happen, you good. It's when you don't have an option. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So don't get discouraged. I've seen a lot of people, change their life off credit, and simply because, like you say, they didn't have the knowledge or the know-how to do it. Every major company, I don't care who it is, they have credit in their equation. They don't use their own money, and there's reasons why. You get me? Because like I say, once you get a certain type of money, you get around certain type of people, and you have certain type of conversations. You can't have those conversations, man, if you don't have the resources or the finances to be in those spaces. So don't look at it like, oh, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's just something that you just got to buckle down on. It's real simple, way simpler than what it looks like or sounds like, but the reward is way better because now you can take your own destiny in your own hands and do your thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And it just is what it is.
absolutely. So let's say that you yield, 60 to $90,000. Actually, matter of fact, one of our clients, she was on the program with us for about 6 months.
Hmm.
And while she was working with us, one of her goals was to get access to funding. So, I instructed her what her credit report and scores need to look like.
Hmm.
We were able to get that done in 6 months. Her scores all increased over 750s across the board. One of the bureaus was 800 and change,
Hmm.
low 800, but essentially we got all of the accounts off and everything in order.
Hmm.
Um, she didn't waste no time.
Right.
Within the week, she got in contact with one of my brokers, and they got her funded for over $70,000. She had about another $30,000 on the table. I didn't want to take it because she didn't want to take too much money. She was a bit afraid of getting six figures in debt. But
Right.
essentially, just by planning that out, she was able to start an Airbnb business, Airbnb automation.
Right.
So when you have a good credit score, that is the beginning. You have a good report, that is the beginning. Now, how to couple that with a business, with business funding? Okay, there are 20 data points that your business needs to have. It has to have it. If you think that you're trying to shortchange it or take shortcuts, it, you can't. You're not going to beat the banks out of what they're requiring.
Mhm.
And if you go to the table and say, "Hey, I got 5 out of the 20 that you need. I need funding for my business." Yeah, they'll look at your personal credit. Your credit is in order. They'll use that as strength to get you funding, right? But now that's on your personal side. Your business, may not even get funding. They may only able to qualify you for your personal credit alone. So now, once you get your business in order, you have to have certain things, such as a business address. We're
Mhm.
not talking about a mail center. We're not talking about a PO box. Uh, I mean, those things alone will deny you automatically.
Mhm. That's
You can
true.
have the DUNS, the EIN, you can have the registration from the Secretary of State, but if you have a home address, well, home address has been a little lenient after COVID, but most banks still don't go for it. But if you have a PO box and a mail center, you're automatically getting denied.
Right.
See, the goal is to structure your business like a corporation. A business is an entity, like a human being, for lack of better terms. We have our social, we have our name, we have our emails, etc. Now the business needs to have these things, but it needs to be in reference to the business, to that entity. So if you have a business and it has a Gmail,
Mhm.
that's an immediate denial. I remember I was
Right.
working with a client last year, I believe it was around in November, and she had what did she had almost everything structured, but the inconsistency of the email and the address, she was wondering, her and her husband trying to get proof of funding for years and nothing. And after a 30-minute consultation, I mean, she took away that knowledge and was able to go out and a few months later get funded.
Right.
All right. So you have to be very, very mindful of what they are requiring in order to get let in.
Right.
All right. So coupling your business with your personal credit will put you in a position to get now more access to more funding. So if you were able to walk away with what, 60 to $100,000 in personal funding, and then you leverage your personal credit with companies like Cap on Tap, right? Cap on Tap, you have the report that I just shared with you, Papa just shared with you, and you have the score above a 700, 720. You're not going to get approved for anything less than $15,000. I'm saying it again, and that's in your business name. You check Divvy.com, Google it if it doesn't work in the URL. But Divvy, DIVVY, they have an amazing program for business, especially
Mhm.
startup business. You have the credit report and the score, especially your startup business. You have no history. You don't have the 3 month bank reports, et cetera, that traditional banks will ask for. Well, guess what? Just off of the strength of your personal credit, they'll do a soft pull just to see how you manage your own debts, and then from there they'll leverage like $20,000. I'm talking about the report that I just shared with you guys, Pop just shared with you guys.
Right.
You won't get nothing less than the $20,000. And if you get $15,000, something ain't right.
That's
I'm
true.
telling you, you
That's
know.
true. What like I definitely want them to understand, like I said, once you get to that point where you got everything together and you're ready to go,
Mhm.
want some of the things that they can invest in,
Yeah.
to so they don't have to keep going down this same road,
Okay. Okay. So let's say, great question. So let's say that, but you leverage your personal and business credit, and now you got access to let's call it $100,000 in funding. Okay. Now with the $100,000 in funding, you have credit cards and you have loans, right? What do you do with the money? Especially knowing that if you use a dollar, you have to pay it back. That's a given,
Hmm.
right? If you
Right.
use anything from that money, you have to pay it back. So if you're working or not working, what is it that you can do in order to stretch that money, in order for that money to create babies, if you would, in order for that money to be able to last you for generations? I didn't misquote that term, literally for generations. So this is exactly how you can do that, leveraging what I call low risk, high reward investments.
Hmm.
Okay. Now the Amazon FBAs of this modern time, the Airbnb of this modern time, and all these other automated business is amazing.
Hmm.
I would highly recommend everyone getting into some form of e-commerce,
Right.
but it's expensive, or it can be expensive. See, I'm the Henry Ford type of person. I like to surround myself with people whose profession is a particular thing, or professional in a particular thing, and let them handle it. But it's gonna
Right.
cost, right?
Right.
Because at the end
Mhm.
of the day, you're thinking of it as you're running your own business.
Right.
So an automated e-commerce store can run you $25,000, $30,000 to start.
Hmm.
Mind you, you still will have to fund that business for this, for the business to operate. So you still need operating costs. So you
Hmm.
can look at $50,000, $60,000 for a full setup of an automated company. Well,
Right.
that's just too high risk for me,
Right.
because if I have 100 grand and I'm putting 60 of it up front to take care of this business to be created, well, that only leaves me with a soft, a pillow left,
Hmm.
right? And I still have to pay the debts back. So if I'm using the money from my personal credit card, I still got to factor in my utilization,
Hmm.
that 30%, that 10%.
Right.
So let's say you got 60 on personal credit, 40 on business, on your business credit. Well,
Hmm.
this is what I would recommend. If you take 5,000 to let's call it, I'm gonna break it down instead of just giving a sum. You take $5,000 out of the business, out of that 40,000, put that personal credit to the side. That's now your emergency fund.
Hmm.
Let that 60K be your emergency fund, for you and your family, for you and yourself, or whatever the case may be, but you got money sitting in the corner. Okay. Now, the $40,000 that you got from your business, you're going to take $5,000 and invest it into things such as tax lien deeds.
Right.
Okay. So you have tax lien certificates and you have tax lien deeds. What are the difference? Well, the certificate of the tax lien is pretty much you're building your own 401k or pension plan portfolio. Someone did not pay their property taxes for a year. They didn't pay it. Guess what? You're now able to auction or bid on that property tax. when you bid on this property tax, let's say you pay, $500 for it. Every year, your earnings is between 18 to 24%.
Yeah.
Ain't no S&P 500 or anything on the stock market is hitting you with 18 to 24% annually. So let's say you build a portfolio of buying $5,000 worth of certificate, and if it's $500 a piece, the prices do vary. But if it's $500 a piece, for this example's sake, now you have several different portfolio that's building interest every single year on your money.
Right.
Okay. Now, let's say that you split it up. If you didn't do 5,000 and buy the full certificate, take 2,000, buy the certificates. Now take the 3,000 and invest it into the deeds. The deed is when you actually buy the property, because it might be in foreclosure or whatever the status is, but you're buying the deed to that property. So you now own the property. Let's say the property costs $100,000. So if this property costs $100,000, you bought it for, let's call it that, you bought it for $3,000. You got a $3,000, you purchased a $100,000 property for $3,000. Well, it's simple. Take the best thing is not to fix it, not to flip it, get it off your hands, sell it as is. The goal is that you actually take this property, and then you cut it 40 to 50%. So instead of selling it for 100,000, sell it for 50, and see if a wholesaler or a cash investor doesn't buy that property off of you. You know why? They have the capital. They can invest $40,000-$50,000 or whatever the number is, and when they buy it, they fix it, they flip it and sell it for $300,000-$400,000 wherever the market value is.
Right.
So, but I'm not watching their pocket. See, the goal is for the come up. So you just took $5,000 out of your business funding, put $2,000 to build out a portfolio for returns, and you took $3,000 and bought a tax lien deed. You bought the property, you sell it for the value that it is and cut it in half. Now, minus the agent, the real estate agent fee, minus the closing costs, and minus that $3,000 that you spent on it, let's say that you walked away with $43,000. That's a $3,000 investment that gave you $40,000. Now, this money is all yours. you easily pay that $5,000 back to the business loan that you took out. So now you have the difference, which is yours. Guess what? Repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. You do 20 of those in a year, you're looking at over $500,000.
And that's the same as it's the same as getting a loan for a car. The only difference is a car is a liability, not an asset. It's gonna take money from you.
Correct.
Versus put money in your pocket. But if you need transportation, I always tell people, go get you some transportation, man. Or if you need somewhere to stay for your family or whoever, do that first. But don't look at it like if you could buy something that don't make you money and you okay with it, you could definitely take a chance and buy something that will make you money. I always use a box truck, or I always use a food truck as an example. There's 1,000 things out there people could take their money and invest in. But if you could buy a car that's just gonna ride you around, which is cool, if you need an automobile, you could definitely go purchase you a business or something that can make you money. And then, like I said, if you get a $40,000 loan for a car, you paying back $600-$700, or you paying whatever you paying back on the car, or whatever the case may be. It's the same thing with a food truck. It's just you keeping the extra money that you make, and you trust me, you're gonna make over $600 on a food truck, bro. Come on. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
food.
You just gotta have that mindset, man. You know what I'm saying? Just have the right mindset. And the reason why I tell you this, and I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound harsh, but it's the reality of all people. Nobody owes you nothing. You have to have this type of mentality as a woman, as a man, as a family. Nobody owes us nothing, bro. So it's up to us to get the right information and go out there and do what you got to do. Because, like I'm telling you, man, you're gonna be sitting up complaining about this and that. And this is the reason why I do this, bro. I want people to understand, man, nobody ain't gonna give you nothing. You got to get up off your butt, do what you got to do. And it's not that hard, man. You know, people make things hard, but it ain't that hard, man. We just got to make it shake, do what we got to do, because we know better now. We're in the information age. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this stuff it wasn't in it wasn't accessible to us, or definitely our parents. They ain't know what was going on. But this is a chance where a lot of people could change the generational curse in their family. And a lot of people doing it, man. There's more millionaires being created now than ever. There's a lot of information out there. But like I say, this is for those who ain't afraid to go out there. It's just common sense, man. If I'm down on it, and man, like we've all had to do. We've all was born butt naked. You know what I'm saying? So at some point, you can definitely take this situation and change it for the better of you. You know what I'm saying? Like I always tell you, man, I don't care what they doing over there. What you doing? It's your name on this paperwork. You know what I'm saying? These your kids, it's your family, and it's just what it is you want to do. You know what I'm saying? If you can cook good, man, build your credit, dog. Go get your food truck. Do what you love and make a lot of money. I know people who got food trucks. And I'm just giving you one example. You know, you could do a daycare, food trucks. You could do a car wash. People think car washes ain't, man, you know how much money these people make washing cars? Some people get a real car wash, $80, inside out, everything, motor. People are making good money with these businesses, man. You get what I'm saying? So it's all on you, you know, to go out there and change it for you. Because like I say, don't nobody owe us nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? That's wishful thinking, bro. Don't fall into that category, man. So definitely, man. Like I said before, like if y'all got any questions, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna do a Q&A, you know what I'm saying, and answer a few questions. I did see a few questions pop up. But like I say, any questions you gotta ask, man, you know, and we ask people not to spam the chat, man. I know people put information in the. We ask people not to spam the chat, man. But any questions y'all may have, man, you know, here's the time. Y'all could definitely
I see some questions there, Papa.
You see some, let me get to them. We got, you know what I'm saying? Okay, let me see, let me find Starman said, yeah, whatever question y'all got, man, y'all drop them on there, man.
I see one was asking about, you know, getting the access to the program for the credit repair. To start the program, text the word credit to 754-755-9774, as Papa has it on the screen, and just schedule an appointment so that way a member from our team can actually reach out to you. I see another question a gentleman asked, or a person asked, what about you know, car loans? So when you pay your car off, does it you know, how many points does your credit increase by? Well, that's a trick question. Here's why. When you have a car payment that you pay off, usually what happens is your score drops. I know that's not what we want to hear, but it's too often where your score drops, and the reason being is because you have this installment loan, and you have the loan for a particular period of time. So once the account is now closed and it's no longer open, the score dropped because the account has closed. Right. Usually it doesn't take a whole lot of points from you, you know, maybe a few points under, you know, double digits. And if it does hit double digits, it's not 20 or more points that I've experienced, but usually it's under 10 on double digits, and your score drops because you no longer have an open account under that with that lender. Hope that answers your question.
Definitely.
Another question, nobody too. I have a closed paid account that's say potentially negative. What does that mean, and can it be removed from my credit report? It's closed and it's paid. If it's showing potentially negative, there's something on that account before it was closed, right? So it could be where the account is closed, but may have maybe closed and paid, but it could be in a collection account and it was paid afterwards. It could be where the account was closed and paid, but it may have late payments reflecting on the credit report. We would have to see what's going on with the report. So I would recommend, texting credit to 754-755-9774, book an appointment and let one of our members actually look at your credit report and see what's going on.
Definitely. And let me see. Here's another question. Can we discharge debt from our birth certificate account? That's kind of like another discussion.
That is definitely another discussion.
Yeah, it's ways to do things, and knowing, like, dealing with the trust and certain things like that. But that's another discussion, to be honest.
Yep. FVLLEN repossessions can be challenged. We have successfully been able to remove countless amount of repossessions from our clients' credit report using the same method I mentioned that I did with mine, but more aggressive to get those accounts challenged.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. But like I said, my main thing is to.
I got one more. Lily Jones. Papa, Lily Jones asks a valid question. Why does all three credit bureaus give three different scores? To keep it simple, each bureau pulls from a different vendor, right? So let's say that credit. So it's not credit. Let's say that Experian pulls the report when you go to buy a Toyota. Let's say that Experian is the one that they work with and pull from that bureau. Let's say you go to Macy's and they're offering you a store card, but Macy's only pull from TransUnion, and so forth and so forth. Each bureau is going to pull from that particular lender or vendor that they're partnered with. So, that's how your credit scores tend to be different most of the times.
Right.
Mario Gibson, will my credit go down if I purchase a car for my business use instead of personal? If you purchase the vehicle under your business, if they do your personal guarantee, you don't have to, you'll see a small decrease. But essentially, when you purchase that car under your business, it's under your business name, so you won't see any decrease or effect to your personal credit. Hope that answered your question, Mario.
Definitely. Okay, But like I say, man, my main thing, man, build your credit, man. Don't build your credit just to, to tear it down.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's so much more investment that you can get into. One, I believe, is one of the most significant ways of coming up using your personal credit is leveraging life insurance. I think this is going to be it before, we close out. But life insurance is I would say, a cheat code. We all go into the banks, and if you haven't noticed before, next time you go into the bank, you'll see it on the door, plastered anywhere in the bank that says FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, this is where minimum $250,000 is given to the banks, and essentially what it is the federal, the insurance company is giving the banks money. Well, if the banks is an entity, it's a corporation. If they're able to receive money from insurance company, why can't we, the people? Well, actually, we can. Now, a method that you can leverage is you can do this with IUL, Index Universal Life Insurance. That will take about 2 to 3 years for cash value to build up. But right now, we're going to talk about whole life insurance. Whole life insurance is quite expensive, but let's just say that you take this, another $5,000, $10,000, if you would, out of the money that you receive from your business funding, right? You take this $10,000 and now you allocate it towards buying a whole life policy. So essentially what you're buying is the cash value. Instead of paying on it monthly, you're just paying up for the cash value. Right. So if you take this $10,000 and let's say this $10,000 yields you $100,000, after your medicals and all that thing, they have to do the medical, so they'll send out the mobile nurse and life insurance based on your height, weight, sex, health, etc. But once you pay this money, let's call it 10,000, and it buys you in at a cash value of $100,000, you can borrow up to 65% of that policy, right? That cash value, with and it normally the deposit happens within 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
So let's think of it. You invested 10, you received 100, but instead of taking 65, you take 50%. So you take $50,000. 60 days it hits your bank account. You got 12 months to use this money, invest this money before you have to pay back the interest, right? Pay it back with interest. And if you don't pay it back, it deducts it from your cash value. But let's just say that now you got 50 grand. Remember, we still got the security fund sitting over on the side, that emergency fund from your personal credit. You're not going to mess with that because it's too attached to your utilization. Your scores drop unless you got a plan to bring that money back in 30 days or 90 days. But essentially, you have now 50 grand that came from your life insurance policy that you can leverage to build your business. Now you have money from the let's say if you do a food truck, let's say you have money from the life insurance policy, let's say you have money from the tax lien deeds that you invested in. You may have a portfolio sitting over $200,000 at this point, right? Take that money and then invest it into the Airbnbs, then invest it into the automation for the Amazon FBA, then invest it into the Shopify and the e-commerce business, because you know what? You now have capital that you don't have to touch from anywhere. It doesn't affect your utilization. It doesn't affect your credit. This is your profit, and you can keep spinning that wheel. And like I mentioned earlier, this is wealth of knowledge that can last for a generation if done correctly.
Facts. Man, we definitely want to say we definitely appreciate that contribution from Information NYC. Thank you so much for that, man. We definitely appreciate it. Say love this direction of showing more of what to do, showing the way, fix your credit. You know what I'm saying? Business gain, knowledge. Appreciate you leading by example, man. I want to say thank you for that, man. I definitely appreciate you a lot. You know what I'm saying? And then also to get started, what the fees is to get started.
So to get started, it's only $189.98 to start, and to maintain the service on a monthly, it's only $114.98. I always say this, when I speak with individuals face to face or over the phone. You want to make a change to your future, you got to invest.
Yep.
I hear Papa Doug talks about it all the time in many of his videos, but you have to invest. It's impossible for you to get to the next stage in your life unless you invest. And if someone hands you money, you still need to invest it, or else you're gonna be finished with it. It's gonna be done and before you know it.
Yeah, it's a tool. Money is just a tool. You know what I'm saying? Definitely that. And like I said, for the amount being knocked off of debt that's attached to your name, it doesn't compare to the investment, to be honest. And like I say, you want to do this with people who do this every day. The laws change, different things change. I've seen where people, and it's okay, man. If you got to do what you got to do, I'm all for that. But I've seen people who've, did some things and didn't know what they was doing and kind of got themselves in even more of debt or situation. And it's easy if even if they call you and ask you, hey, is this such and such? Is this Mr. such and such? And you say, yeah, then you just started that debt process all over without even knowing, because you just took the responsibility of the debt. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of little things that a lot of people don't know. And like I say, you want to put yourself on the right side of any situation, man, because again, nobody owes us nothing, man. This is just something that we do to bring a situation to you to help better your situation. You know what I'm saying? Without all the red tape. We've heard every horror story you could think of. People spending a lot of money, people claiming they can do this and they can do that. And hey, man, you can go to Google, you can go look at the reviews. You can go do all that, do your research, man. But like I say, this is a small investment, man, for your future. So would have helped a lot of people. And I brought real people, like all the people y'all see me bring on here, you know what I'm saying? Bringing real people on here, man, that will tell you how this program was able to help you. You know what I'm saying? So credit, so I try to get a loan to say, and since she passed away, increase or repair my credit score. Definitely. And like I said, you want to be on the right side of the ball, man. If you're tired of losing, do like I did, bro.
Yeah.
One day you're gonna wake up and you're gonna say, man, I'm
Going
tired
to.
of losing. I'm
Mhm.
tired. I done tried this, tried that, did that. Sometimes, man, you just got to get to that point. You're tired of losing, man. Do what you got to do, man. You know what I'm saying? Definitely want to do that. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, man, you can hit the number on the bottom of this post or text the word credit. You can start ASAP. You can start today. Hopefully y'all got a lot of good information out of this. This was a free live. Like I told y'all, write everything down. This is one thing millionaires and successful people have in common. They write everything down. You know what I'm saying? They write everything down. You know what I mean? You will forget. You know. I think we got another question. How can they remove inquiries?
All right, James. So there's several ways. Let me give you a short way and a fast way, or slow way and fast way, process way. The process way is going through the process of challenging the accounts, yeah, either yourself or via letters. When I say by yourself, using the letters, creating the documents, sending them out. Or if you use a company like ours, we can challenge those inquiries on your behalf. The next way that you can do it is calling them, right? Having your report pulled up in front of you and contacting the three bureau individually. And based on whatever inquiries is on your credit report, you're just essentially letting them know that there's unauthorized inquiries that's reported on your credit. Or you can state that there are inquiries reported on my credit and you didn't give them, there was no permission for them to be there.
Mm.
Right? Especially when you say you go to the dealership and they ran your credit umpteen times to try and get you a car, and they tell you they ran it one time. Truthfully, that wasn't to your knowledge, right? So essentially, you call them, you let them know this. If you get a good agent on the phone, they'll help you. They'll ask you what the inquiries are. You will list it out to them, and then usually within 72 hours, they fall off the credit report like meat off of a bone. If it doesn't happen during that 72 hours, then you just call back again and repeat the process. And usually it will happen to where these accounts are removed from your profile. All right.
Definitely. Definitely. What's up, Shawnee? It's crazy, right? She said I only have student loans from over 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And a few medical bills. But 20 years ago, man, that's why I say some people look at how long it'll take to get to get this knocked off your credit. Everybody's different. I'm gonna say that. Everybody's situation is different. But for her to have that on her for 20 years and could possibly get it knocked out in a couple months, it don't compare. This is
Right.
one of the biggest, I mean, this is one of the biggest things we hear all the time, people with student loans. You get what I'm saying? It's gonna ride you. It's gonna ride you to the grave. And that's why I say it's a small investment to knock these things off your credit because different things change every day, and that's why I always say use people that do this every day that can go in and say, well, you gonna have this over for so much time, we can do this, and boom, get it deleted. You know what I'm saying? You just have to deal with people that do this every day. That's how you really build an empire. You hire people that's skilled in the area that you're trying to get fixed or worked on. You don't hire somebody that paint if you're trying to work on, you know, again, your car fix, you hire a mechanic. But this is one of the ways, man, you can really scale up and get things going pretty quickly, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? But definitely we can definitely help you with that student loan. We've done like I said, we've done actually millions in deleted debt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Millions in deleted debt. And like I said, you could have been a part of that, with your debt. You know what I mean? So like I say, man, it's just putting yourself in position, man, and changing things for the better of you. You know what I'm saying? What you say, son? My student loan were over 20 years ago, but thanks to Real Credit Deal, they ate over 60,000. Over 60,000.
How you doing,
Gone.
Charlene?
And he ain't spent nowhere near 60,000
No.
to get that knocked off his credit. Man, we definitely
And
appreciate that.
actually, if I would, Charlene was a guest speaker on your live a few weeks back, and
Yep,
she was sharing what she had over $90,000 total debt removed.
yep,
It's we're also in a process right now in structuring her business, from
right.
top to bottom. When I tell you, meeting all 20 data points, and then position her to win. I can definitely see with what her credit report and scores look like, and what we have as far as structuring her business. She's easily looking at a 50 to six figures in funding in the next few
Mhm.
months or weeks, I should say.
Definitely. I definitely appreciate you. I'm glad you put that on there. Thank you so much for that. But like I say, man, definitely, man, put yourself in a better situation and move forward. Like I say, get this stuff knocked off your credit and just get the right information, man. That's why I tell y'all, ignorance is the most expensive thing in the world, and it just means you don't know if you look the word up. I always say that because it sounds real harsh when a person call you an ignorant person.
Yeah,
It just means you don't know. When you don't have the right information about something, you pretty much put yourself in a disadvantage. From the get go. It's not as hard as people think. Other people are doing it. If you can do it, I can do it. That's just always been my thing. Just take the time out, to do what you got to do and move forward. That's really it. You know what I'm saying? It's not that difficult like people try to make it. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, like I say, we ain't want to take too much of y'all time up. Um, Appreciate everybody that got on here. You know what I'm saying? I definitely appreciate you, bro, for coming in. Speaking to the family,
every
um,
time,
and getting that information. You
every time.
know, like I said, if you want to join, the numbers on the bottom of the screen, you can call or text the word credit to 754-755-9774, and you can start an appointment. And like I say, man, don't be like a lot of these people who not just only afraid, but don't be like a lot of these people that'll just go. I'd rather go broke trying to better myself, which this is not like life's, a big chunk of money per se. And I can't say that for everybody, but you get what I'm saying. It's not like 30, 40,000. But you've seen people spend 30, 40,000, don't know where it went. Just gone. I'd rather spend that kind of money trying to better myself. And it's easy, man. Just do your due diligence, do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. But you got to take that chance. You got to not be afraid. Even if you had your own money, this is what I tell people. If you had 50, 60,000, you know what I'm saying? Would you be afraid to invest in yourself or
Mm,
use the bank's money? You know what I'm saying? They do it every day, all day, every day. So hopefully that'll help knock off some of that anxiety, man. Don't be afraid, bro. But especially if you're in like a family, husband, wife, y'all together, y'all just had a kid, y'all, man, set yourself up the right way. I don't give a damn if you go get a lawn service. These people making good money. These are not like little side gigs. You got people making six figures or more doing washing cars, cutting grass, pressure washing. Like these people don't scale these businesses up. You know what I mean? Uh, Tinting windows. You'll be surprised how much money you'll make tinting windows. But when you got the right capital to start a business and you ain't robbing Peter to pay Paul, you getting 40, 50, 60,000 or more to go into a business. Do your due diligence. Because a lot of these businesses, they don't take much to start up if you got the right information, the right knowledge. Again, ignorance is the most expensive thing in the world. You get what I'm saying? So you doing your due diligence, you know what it costs to do this. You should say, well, boom, this is going to take this to do that. And you're going to have cushion to get you to that point where, okay, now everything is in process, is rolling out. You get what I'm saying? Once it's going, ain't no stopping but yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with me. I have a clothing line. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. It's not as hard as people think it is. You know what I'm saying? That's it. It's simple. So I definitely want to say, man, I appreciate everybody that got on here. And like I said, we're gonna what was it? Whether am I qualified? I'm not sure. Which she said, with that amount qualified, I'm not sure if my comment posted. Which comment you had? Can you repost it right quick? We'll get it in right quick before we get off here. Somebody said, thank you, Dean and Duck, for all the great information. JR, we definitely appreciate that. And like I say, man, just here trying to help people put themselves in a better position, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that hard, man. I keep saying it because it's not. Like, I got a little partner who he take pictures. This man charged $175 a session. And as soon as you come, you got 2 more people out there waiting for you to leave. This man making $300, $400, $500 a day doing what he loves. Come on, man. Like, it ain't hard at all, bro. And that's a small startup. Of course, the equipment costs. But if you got the right amount and you got funded, you can walk right in and get that equipment and make that money back 10 times. You just got to have the right mindset. Okay. Well, I guess we'll catch y'all on the next one, man. You got anything you want to say, bro, before you get off here?
Actually, I do. Real quick, if I could, I just want to say a quick prayer, man. Just something short for everyone that's on this live today. So if you would, Heavenly Father, we come before you today, above and within. Father God, you see and know all the individuals on this live, Lord. You know their hearts. You know them by name, oh Father God. I pray that you remove any form of spirits that is of procrastination over their lives. I pray that you instill the spirit of courage within them, O Lord God, and remove any spirit of fear upon them. For God, you did not put fear in men, oh Father God. That is of the opposition. So I pray that any and every task, any and every ideas, any and every imagination that these individuals that are watching have, oh Father God, I pray that you put them in position to take action towards actually creating those things that they desire, Father God, but not just to create these things for vain purposes, oh Father, but to glorify your name and to use you as the resource in order to be able to change change generations from time to time, oh Father God. So every individual here, you've listed that we are nations. So as we continue to collaborate, as we continue to commune as one, oh Father God, like Papa Doug's brand Ubuntu, oh Father God, we come together and we do things that will shock the world, oh Father God. So I pray again, prosperity over every individual on this live. In Jesus Christ's name, I pray. Amen.
There you have it. Definitely, man. Again, man, I want to say thanks to everybody that got on the live. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully we that gave y'all that good energy. You know what I'm saying? And can we take one more? Cause she did.
Real estate with K. I just saw it.
Okay, there it is on the screen. I got about 3,500 in credit card debt. I was about at 730 credit score before I was laid off and fell behind. Just got back in real estate, so I need to refresh my credit with this amount qualify.
So Kay, are you stating the amount of the debt qualify you for the program? If so, then yes, we will still need to see what the report looks like, right? So the 3,500 that fell back, is it already in collection? Is it in a charge-off status? We would need to know what the status of that account is. But
Mm.
essentially, if it's in a collection account, if it's in a charge-off account, we can definitely challenge those accounts for you, and get them removed off the credit, as we've been able to do successfully for our past clients. Now, I do want to say that credit is a process. So I want you to mentally have that knowing coming into the program, that it may not happen in the time frame that you may think, such as 1 month or 2 months. Give it some time. We recommend 4 to 6 months for the best results, but because of the aggressive measures that we take, a lot of our clients actually start seeing results within the first 45 to 90 days. Some clients are finished the program honestly within 3 months, but again, everyone's profile is different. But yes, for the amount of debt you have, 35, and give us a text us, allow us to schedule your appointment, and then from there, some in collections, some are charge. Yep, I love seeing collections and charge offs. Because truthfully, they can be removed. So, can you hear me? Yep. So yeah, if they're in that status, we can definitely help you. If they threaten you to take you to court, that's hogwash. That's foolishness, right? They can't legally take you to court, and if they decide, because all right, real quick, the collection company buys a debt from the creditor. The creditor realizes that, well, Kay's not paying her bill every single month, her credit card any month anymore. So we can't keep this debt in house. We have to write it off as a loss.
Mhm.
Usually, this takes place 4 to 6 months after the account, um, after the account is not paid. So now they sell it to a third party collection company to get the debt off of their hands. They sell it for penny on a dollar. So if it's a total of $3,500, they may sell it for 350, but it's a bulk of debt they're selling to this
Mhm.
collection company with other people's debt. Now the collection company buy it. It's no different than you and I going to the store. We buy something from the store that now makes us the owner. So because of the lack of knowledge that our people don't have, right, it puts us in a position to think that this account is still ours when the original creditor received their money a long time ago, because when they file their taxes, it's written off as a loss. So they're going to get their money back on the back end. And they got a little something, something when they sold it for a penny under the dollars to the collection company. Now, the
Mhm.
collection company owns a debt and tries to come after you, stating that this is your debt, but they're using the original creditor's name because they know that's who you had the account with. So because of that, they they honestly get a lot of people to fall victim of it, and then pay the debt. And when you pay the debt, it doesn't remove it
Still
from
be
the
on
card
there. Mhm.
unless you get a letter of deletion in advance before you choose to pay it. But I normally recommend, before you choose to pay a collection company, challenge those accounts, get them removed, and now you can start again fresh. I
Facts,
hope
and
that
that's why
answers
I
your
say,
question, some.
deal with people that do this every day. You know what I'm saying? We've even had somebody spent. I think said she spent like 7 or 9 thousand,
Mhm.
um, and still didn't get it taken off her credit because she bought it
Man,
from a third party company that bought the debt. These people sell debt. A lot of people don't even know that they sell your debt.
yeah,
And this is why they come at you with these different addresses, nicknames, phone numbers. They just try to take any information they can off of you from the original person you got the debt with, and they come after you to try and make some type of profit.
correct.
So listen, man, we appreciate y'all for coming on. You know what I'm saying? All these lives, we will be bringing people on, speaking live, people that's done joined the program like I've always done, and we brought y'all organic results and people who speak on what we've done for them. You know what I'm saying? So like I say, you can go Google Real Credit Deal. You can go look at the reviews, do all you gotta do. But like I say, man, this is for those who want to take control of the situation, man, and move forward. And once you get into this and you start to see how other people leverage credit, then you'll start seeing like, dang, I could have been did this.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Use the bank money, bro. They got plenty of it. You know what I'm saying? Use their money. Start trying to work and save up money. If you gonna hit the lottery, somebody gonna die and leave some money. No, man. Just get your credit right, get in the right position. Go in there, get what you gotta get. Do your due diligence. Build your own empire. Because it's all on you. It ain't nobody finna just knock on your door and hand you the, here you go. It ain't gonna happen, bro. That's wishful thinking. Don't never think like that. So with that being said, man, again, man, we appreciate you coming on, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Definitely. And like I said, man, y'all hit the number on the bottom of this post, or either text the word credit to this number, screenshot it, send it to your baby mama, baby dad, husband, wife, whoever you trying to build this life with. Because two people gonna always outdo one, like I tell y'all all the time, man. And it's simple, man. Just get your credit right, get all that stuff knocked off, get in the right position so you can move forward. So with that being said, man, hope y'all have a blessed day. You know what I'm saying? And we will be back at y'all soon with some more free information. All right? Y'all be blessed.